Flesh and Blood being the embodiment of a fighting game brought to TCG form means that, like any fighting game, it's full of combos. Whether it's annoyingly long combat chains from the likes of Fi, or a Guardian like Bravo winding up one turn only to pulverize you the next, there are varying levels of combos in this game. And in today's video, I want to go over my personal favorite 2-card combos, looking into how they work and what made them so great, or in some cases, completely and utterly broken. The first combo on this list is one that hasn't seen too much competitive play, but this is my list, and the Crown of Dominion and Cash-In combo absolutely slaps. By running the Royal Crown over other less important helms, you get to start the game with the most wondrous card in all of Flesh and Blood, a gold token. And while the gold itself isn't all too impressive, being able to play your first Cash-In for completely free is. Cash-In lets you sack that gold to pay for its cost, and it draws 2 cards. If played with a card in Arsenal, Cash-In gives the player a 6-card hand, which unlocks massive power turns. The most popular use for this 2-card combo came about when Zach Bunn surprised everyone at the Calling Baltimore, coming in 3rd place on a Royal Viceroy list. This deck had one game plan and one game plan only: race. Modern Skies followed up by a 2-cost attack and finished with the Rosetta Thorn for 2 and 2 were the bread and butter of the deck, but Cash-In gave Viceroy the cards in hand to have massive 25+ damage turns. Playing that Cash-In and following it up with a Mordred Tide and cards like Swarming Gloomveil and Revel in Runeblood was often more than enough to completely swing the tide of a game in Viceroy's favor. And the best part about it, or worse depending on what side of the table you're on, is that you could get a power turn like this within the first few turns of the game. I personally put this 2-card combo in quite a few fun decks over the years, but we haven't really seen it shine since the Royal Viceroy days, and that's been long gone since the Rosetta Thorn left with Briar. But here's hoping that we see a resurgence someday, because Crown of Dominion paired with Cash-In is just, it's so much fun to play. While 2-card combos can be incredibly powerful in Flesh and Blood, nothing is more powerful than the combination of Into the AM's new Spring Collection and their Memorial Day sale, which is happening right now. Ending May 29th, this sale offers up to 30% off store-wide, and if you use the link in the description, intotheam.com/Sloopdoop, you'll get an extra 10% off. That makes a combined 40% for all of you math nerds. I'm currently wearing their black floral relaxed button-up and their khaki daily shorts, which are perfect for the hot weather. Whether you're looking for their incredible graphic tees, their basic branded stuff, or a button-up and shorts combo like what I've got, Into the AM has you covered. So go on and check out their spring collection using my link in the description, intotheam.com/Sloopdoop. With 40% off, you can easily become the best looking individual at your local game store. So thanks again to Into the AM, and it's back to the video. Belittle and Minism are a pair of cards released in Monarch, and honestly, they seemed just okay at first. Before long though, players started to figure out that they weren't just okay, they were, kind of powerful. So powerful, in fact, that Belittle eventually ended up on the ban list. So what's the deal with these cards? The first half of this combo, Belittle, is an attack that costs 1, and if you pay the additional cost of revealing another attack action in hand with 3 or less base power, you get to search out the second card, Minism. Minism is a non-attack action that gives a buff to the next attack action you play with 3 or less power. This not only meant that Belittle could fetch the red Minism for a decent buff, but it could also grab a blue Minism, giving a player access to more resources without actually needing a blue in hand. And as it would turn out, this was very powerful. Once players realized how good it was, this 2-card combo became the backbone to fast, low-to-the-ground aggressive decks, and the 2 best examples of this are Briar and Fi. In Matthew Folks' Pro Tour Lil winning Briar deck, he used both red and yellow Belittles and red and blue Minisms. Being a Runeblade, Briar wasn't only able to use the extra resources, but could also grab a red Minism instead to help regenerate embodiment of lightning tokens or to activate Rosetta Thorn. But the scariest thing this 2-card combo unlocked was the ability to abuse Channel Mount Heroic. Grabbing an extra resource or getting an extra go again allowed Briar to extend her combat chains even more, which was a huge deal with a +3 boost on every attack. Fi, on the other hand, tended to just use the red Belittles to grab the blue Minisms, which was still incredibly strong as it essentially let Fi run less blues than he might otherwise. Sander Neeft's first place Calling Utrecht list only had to run 16 blues since the 3 Belittles essentially acted as 3 more copies. And don't worry, Fi can abuse these resources just as much as Briar. While 1 damage isn't as much as 3, pairing this Belittle and Minism combo with an Artivore gave Fi the ability to have stupidly long combat chains. This would often put out 25+ damage turns, especially if there was a Tunic resource to pay for the initial Belittle. No matter the deck it was in, the combo of Belittle and Minism added a ton of consistency and also unlocked far more powerful turns than a deck would otherwise have. In fact, it was so powerful that on January 30th, 2023, Belittle was banned from the Classic constructed format. Crucible of War, the very first supplemental set, brought with it majestic equipment for each class that currently existed in the game. Runeblades were granted the power of the Bloodsheath Skeleta, a chess piece that not only had temper 2, but could also destroy itself to reduce the cost of both an attack and non-attack action card by the amount of rune chance you currently controlled. This card was very obviously made for Viserai, and it made the deck instantly more powerful, although far from broken. But then the next set, Monarch, came out, bringing with it the second half of this now infamous 2-card combo, Sonata Arcanix. Sonata Arcanix is a non-attack action that costs double X, and when played reveals cards off the top equal to X plus 3. For each non-attack revealed, a player gets to add an attack to hand and deal that much arcane damage to the opponent. Simply put, the more resources you could pump into this card, the better. Bloodsheath Skeleta and Sonata Arcanix were a match made in heaven, and with this 2-card combo and the ability to stack rune chance, Viserai became a top tier hero in the next set, Tales of Aria. But once players finally caught on to the combo, it did start to gain popularity. At the 2021 Australian National Championships, Hayden Dale took Viserai to a first place finish using the Skeleta Sonata combo. And this really goes to show how powerful it was, considering this was at the time of decks like Full Power and Unerrated Lightning Briar and Full Powered Chain. After spending several turns generating more rune chance with cards like Read the Runes, Reduce to Rune Chant, and Rune Blood Barrier, players could use the Bloodsheath Skeleta to dump an extra 10 plus resources into Sonata Arcanix. This gave Viserai an ungodly amount of attacks in hand and more than enough resources to have massive damage turns, thanks to the help of cards like Modern Skies and Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath. And even if the combo wasn't enough to fully kill an opponent on that turn, it put them so far behind in the game that there was just no hope. And if you still don't think that this is degenerate enough, let me point out that this was during Tales of Aria. Cards like Runeblood Incantation and Blessing of Occult, which would have made rune chant stacking even easier, weren't even out yet. And so, much like the Belittle Miniwism combo, on May 2nd, 2022, Bloodsheath Skeleta was suspended until Viserai hit Living Legend, although it would later be outright banned. The ability to sit on a stack of rune chants and then use a piece of equipment to pay into a card for way more than would ever be possible is probably way too degenerate to be in the game, as it's almost impossible to interact with. And so that's it for my personal favorite 2-card combos. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you've got any other 2-card combos that you personally love, leave a comment and, hit subscribe while you're down there. Thanks once again to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. You guys should absolutely go check out their spring collection and just the site-wide sale. Their stuff is genuinely really good, and if you use my link, you will not only support the channel, but you get yourself some sick threads, and I might actually get sponsorships further into the future, so it's a win-win for all of us. And finally, a huge thanks to all of my patrons. You guys are truly Chads among Chads. So thanks to the Giga Chad Saint, Geeks First, Elixir, Vinny, Smokeopotamus, John, Ty, James, Chemical, Bryant, Transient Fire, Dark Memoria, and Big Hungry. Then we've got the Alpha Chads Thomas, Zajima, and Pavel. And finally, there's the Super Chads Bruno, Thal, Cece, Eric, Ben, and Yogbadoodles21. Thanks again as always, and stay Chadly, my friends.